real race talk from Texas. It's the Revved Up Sports Show. Here's Bobby Chappie and Rodney Rodriguez.
Oh, yes, indeed. The Monday staple is back on the air. Back together in studio in the blazing hot Round Rock, Texas. Showtime,
God.
Bobby Chappie, the Iceman, Rodney Rodriguez. This is indeed the Revved Up Sports Show, the original, the show that started off. Wait, I already said that, didn't I? I'd say that too many times.
That's okay. I know a lot of folks have a good time doing these things, and to watch evolution of everything that we've been able to do, it's pretty cool to watch others do it as well, and some do it better. I mean, and that's totally fine. But always a good time. Always a good time. Monday night right here. # Real Race Talk with Bobby and I. Let's talk racing, man. That's what it's all about. That is what it's all about.
That's what we're here to have fun, talking racing, talking national, local, and everything in between, grassroots, all of it.
Bobby, I do want to ask you, and coming up on the show, Jared Maupin, 645. And to me, in my opinion, there are two guys in my mind that I talk about this all the time when I'm doing PA and race broadcasts. Jared Maupin and our man Caden Honeycutt are two of the guys that need to be in mainstream and working for really badass race teams, because they are some of the best kids that we get to see. So we'll talk to him, and then Cody Brusso is going to check in at 7:15, because it's never a bad time for a Brusso conversation right there. So we'll do that. But let's dive in. I do want to talk about. I know we didn't really get to dig into this on Saturday with the radio show. Your thoughts on this Eldora Million thing? I know a lot of folks always beat down on the asphalt stuff, but follow the leader.
They tore up some shit, too. I thought they didn't tear up shit on dirt. Or is that just the local people that don't tear up shit on dirt?
What track are you looking at?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They tore up a lot of good cars
That
right at the beginning, and then right when Larson and him decided to flip around.
Yeah, that's always the one thing that I go back to when folks want to sit there and beat me up and talking about that when the whole transition was coming over. And again, I mean, you and I are dirt track guys now. I mean, just one of those things. But when you start talking about that, it's like, man, two things. Number one, they tore up a lot of shit. Number two, when you talk about asphalt dragging stuff out, it takes too long. Dude, I'm like, okay.
I mean, it didn't start. The main didn't start till 11 o'clock Central, which means that would have been midnight. That would have been totally midnight there in Ohio, wasn't it? Aren't they an hour ahead of us?
Yeah, I'm like, can we get started? Can we go? I mean, I totally get the whole thing with the and I know a lot of folks are like, wow, pavement. They're all about trying to do the show and doing all this stuff. That right there was quite the spectacle. To let's just go race.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just go race. And I don't know.
Yeah, the show kind of drug. It's one thing when you have a show that drags on for a reason, right? If you have a couple of yellows that kind of drag on, but it's a different, and that's double-sided too, because you can have a yellow that drags on too long by one, drivers not lining up in the right spot, making, not listening to race control or listen to the scores, or you have a long cleanup time.
Yeah.
So there's a difference between a night that the yellows, too many yellows, but it's the yellows drag ass. And it takes forever to hook up a wreck or to move a car or to get a car out of the way or whatever. That can make a show drag on too, which is not an ideal, not conducive to a good night there for your fans in the stands. So, everybody wants an efficient show, but a show can still run too fast and be done way too early and not allow the crowd for a chance to just. Every once in a while, the crowd does need a reset.
Mm-hmm.
They do.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that be 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 15 minutes to run down, get some food, refresh the beverages, and have an opportunity to do that without missing too much of a race.
Yeah. Well, I do want to talk about one thing. So this weekend, I had the chance to go down and work for Owen at the race ranch. And I know it was driving Owen crazy because we had intermission. We did all these different things over there. But, man, it was really cool to be in front of a crowd that was so electric and excited as they were, for everything happening there. They got a big one coming up on the 29th, with the Outlaw 34. That I think that's going to be a really cool thing. But that's where you go back to what the efficient show. What truly is the efficient show? Because a lot of folks, the efficient show, they don't care. They'll stay there till 1 p.m. And and again, like I've said so many times, Bobby, I don't care about staying at the track till 1 p.m. if I'm drinking cold beer out in the parking lot, but I don't want to be watching racing at that point. And that's the one thing that I saw with that Eldora Million. It's like, guys, people want to beat up asphalt racing all the time, but you're doing the same shit that really took us down. And still, you watch the asphalt racing these days, and it's like, when's it end? When is this shit over? It's on and on and on and on. And I think that's where, everybody's got to get better.
Well, I think the problem, part of that too, is that's the drawback to the midweek shows.
Yeah,
you can't have a midweek show start the big main event at 11 p.m. Central. You just can't, because nobody's going to watch it. And the people that do are your hardcore fans that are probably going to wake up with the equivalent of a sleep hangover by, not going to bed. I watched 3/4 of that race and woke up, drooling on my leg because I kind of passed out watching it at 11:30 at night.
Yeah, no, that's a whole part right there with that, and then the big asphalt shows. Everything that continues to happen right here, it gets so hard when you start diving into that, because that's really the one concern, because it's always the lashback on was the show too long? Officials pissed off, whatever the whole thing is. It I don't know. I enjoyed the Eldora Million, but I'll tell you one thing: I enjoyed the SRX even more. And I know we talked about that on Saturday. To watch that, boom! That's how you do it. It's like, all right, here we go, bam, 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 we're done, out the door, let's go.
Very Supercross-ish.
But that's network. That's network TV.
You got a 2-hour window that you got to get it done. You got to get it. I feel like that 2-hour window is a little short for SRX, though.
You think?
Yeah. Because a lot of times it goes over. A lot of times it'll go over 10, 15 minutes. So it's like, I get why it's a 2-hour slot versus a 2.5-hour slot. But I also understand that sometimes, I don't know. I feel like it could be a 3-hour show versus a 2-hour show.
Yeah.
But that gets into your attention span area. 2 hours is about right.
Well, and again, we talked on Saturday on the radio show about, with the Thursday night racing and everything that we saw this past weekend. And I was kind of trying to take that back, talking on the radio about all that, but it to me it's so cool, because you can log off of this show right now and go to Dirt Vision, go wherever the hell you want to go, and you've got all kinds of racing happening. And I think that's the one thing where we are in a really good place in racing with all the streamers and all that. And when you talk about cutting the cord and doing all these different things, $10.99 for this, $12.99 for this other thing, $39.99 for this other thing. Is that really the way to go? If you're a race fan, what do you think of that? If you're truly a race fan, you don't need. I love the local news. I gotta watch the news in the morning, but hell. That's about all I need. Local channels and streaming.
Well, your hardcore race fans are going to find it. We had that discussion on Saturday about the IndyCar race being exclusively on Peacock. Your hardcore IndyCar fans are going to... I have Peacock. I had it because when the WWE network switched over to Peacock, I kept it. I kept it. I have no idea how much I have no idea how much I pay for half of my streams.
You sound like
which is exactly what the streamers want. Is I have no idea how much I pay for half of them. But it's like, I had Peacock. So when the Cup race was rained out, what did I do? I flipped over to the IndyCar race on Peacock and watched the whole thing. Was it identical, the same coverage as it is on NBC and USA?
Pretty much.
Absolutely the exact same thing.
Pretty much. And that's a whole thing to where I go back and, with the Race On, we are obviously on Race On Texas and all that. But, you sit here and you watch these things and, Flo, Racing America. I mean, it is a well put together thing. And when you have people like when we're doing those shows and they're like, don't talk. I'm like, why? Because they're doing exactly what needs to be done. And I think that that's where we are so far ahead of other sports is that we're able to do that. I mean, racing is kicking people's asses. And I think that the other sports need to realize how racing has done it and kind of follow suit there a little bit.
Well, I think the closest thing to it is all the extra college football games you get on ESPN Plus.
Yep.
Now, granted, it's behind another paywall. You got to pay extra to get it because if you don't log into your ESPN Plus subscription, it'll say you just get the same plain Jane.
Yeah.
You log in with your cable provider for one to get the plain Jane games that are on network TV. Then you got to get behind the paywall to get the better games and all the. But it shows random shit like lacrosse and swimming and all kind of stuff. Not just football games, but that's where ESPN Plus is a way. It's probably cheaper to broadcast on ESPN Plus a lacrosse game, a women's soccer game, a men's soccer game, whatever, collegiate level stuff. It's probably considerably cheaper to broadcast it over ESPN Plus than it is over network, or not network, but terrestrial ESPN.
Yeah. Well, and that's the whole thing there. I mean, I know a lot of folks checking in here that they know in my spare time, when we get to the fall, when I can't get to a Friday night track, I'm doing high school football. And the whole thing there with the presentation of high school football, with everything that's happened there, it used to be when I started that back in the day with KMAX Sports and different variations of what that became. it was always audio, and now we're doing video and we're doing all this other shit, and it's like, man, this is totally television. This is television. I never, when I got into this, when I jumped into this, for one thing, I never wanted to, this, I never wanted to have this damn show on video, for one thing.
No, it was supposed to be audio only forever.
Right, and I was the worst one about it. I ain't doing that shit. I am not doing that. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to do high school football on video or whatever. But I mean, there's so many outlets right now to where this is how we live these days. And the good thing is, like we're about to talk to Jared here in just a minute, Jared Maupin. I mean, this allows us the chance for folks to realize who Jared Maupin is, and just drive him down people's throats about look at this badass we have in Texas. And I think that's the cool thing, as much as it's extra work, but I mean, whatever, it's a good thing. Very good thing.
Remember how blown away we were when you used to do the NFHS stuff when we first did that, when it was our first experience doing that with a video where you had the overlay, and we're like, this is the coolest thing ever. We're sitting at DKR, 50-yard lines, sitting there eating our Popeyes chicken from the media center. And, you're right there. You get to broadcast on the 50-yard line on the internet. It was like unheard of at the time. Hell, now it's par for the course now.
Yeah. It's so weird. I have folks that reach out to me, time after time, whether it be, with the MAV TV couple of deals that I've gotten to do right there. And it's like, did you ever think you're going to be on TV? And I'm like, it was never the plan. I mean, it was never the plan, but I think that's a main thing to think about, that this sport has gotten to the point to where it gives us the opportunity to showcase short track racing on TV. And I'm not even sure, how did we get to this topic?
I don't know. It just morphed that way.
Yeah, and I mean,
it went from SRX to showcasing short track racing.
Well, and that's the whole thing, because that's what it does. And we talked, we were talking on Saturday. It gives us the chance to see Stafford. Pensacola's been on there. I mean, all these Knoxville, all these racetracks, they get to be showcased as to what short track racing is capable of, and again, we need to be smart to where we're not beating the short tracks up, because I saw that after Mobile this past weekend. I was excited that they were getting a race and everything, and I'm like, okay, you guys calm down. Just calm everything down a little bit.
There is still a disconnect, though, between the short trackers and the major leagues and the major leagues and the short trackers.
You think?
There's still a huge divide there, and I've never understood it. You've got your diehard short track fans that don't give a shit about the NASCAR stuff. You got the NASCAR fans that doesn't know the short track stuff exists.
Yeah. That's right, and that's the big divide right there, because I think if you can link that up, and I think it's more for us, for the short track folks, to embrace some of the bigger stuff. Racing on a Monday. I mean, to me, New Hampshire, everything today. I think that's something that if the short track folks would embrace that a little bit better, I think it'd be a good thing, but I totally get it. There's a lot of disconnect right there. Let's go to the hotline for the first time tonight. And like I was talking about a while ago, one of the best short track racers, I'm going to take short track out, one of the best racers in the country, resides right here in the Lone Star State. Bobby, you and I both get to call his races. This guy, it doesn't matter what he gets in. I always like to make that reference. I'm like, if this dude got on a donkey in the Kentucky Derby, he'd probably win. He's that damn good. To the hotline for the first time tonight, let's talk to our man Jared Maupin. Jared, how we doing, sir?
Awesome. How about y'all?
Doing good, man. Doing good. So let's talk about South Texas this past weekend. What you did in that race that I got to call. Take me through that. I know we kind of talked about it there at the end of it in Victory Circle, but tell me about how you won that race, dude. Because I thought you were done. But damn it, you pulled out another one.
Yeah, and it started off pretty rough. I know we missed our heat, just swapping cars. Just, one of those deals, no big deal. But I got lucky on that start to jump up a few rows and finally got comfortable enough where I had some clean air in front of me, and we were fighting that motor issue, and I found out about quarter to half throttle was where the motor would actually run clean. Anything past that would make it kind of fall on its face and blubber down the straightaway. So I think after that, the car really started waking up. I could drive it in just deep enough to keep the momentum up, and it almost seemed like my car started getting better. Maybe Tanner's fell off because it seemed like with, 6 to go, I reeled him in a lot more than we were at the beginning of the race. Yeah. But I have a love-hate relationship with lap traffic, but after that race, man, I love them.
Yeah, no doubt.
So Jared,
that was going to be tough with lap traffic for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So two-sided question here with the lap traffic that made me kind of think of a different subject. Are the various cars that you race at the lap traffic, is there one class where they're harder to get around versus, like, if you're running a factory stock where everybody you can sometimes notice the difference between the front runners and some of the back runners versus like a modified where most of the guys are kind of running the same speed almost all the way around. Some guys just aren't handling as good. Do you notice the change in the traffic as you come around it in the various classes you race?
Yeah, I would say the modified. The modified's probably the hardest to pass a lap traffic car.
Yeah.
These cars are so erratic where one little hiccup and somebody's shoving the nose all the way across the track, and it could be just right in front of you at the worst time. And I feel like the factory stocks are a little bit slower and you can see everything develop a little sooner. So I would say for sure modifieds, I think they're the toughest to pass a lap car.
Yeah. So Jared, I don't know. I'm sure you had no idea as it was going on, but the race right there with you and Tanner, that place was jam packed on Saturday night. The race that you guys put on, how great was that to sit there and race? And again, I know with the roots, for you with the family and everything, Corpus isn't home, but it's kind of home. How great was that for you and Whitmire to get out there and race this thing out and just get those fans up off their asses and on their feet?
Man, that's the best part, honestly. You get out of the car and you kind of think about it. Like, you look up the stands like, man, that had to be awesome to watch. I wish I was in their shoes and got to see that.
Yeah. And
it's awesome to go back on Race on Texas and get to watch, like, man, this is good, And almost the same thing in that factory stock race. Heck, I think me and Brian Rye were going at it those last few laps. Same thing, you never know who's going to win it. I'm sure the crowd was getting pumped. I know there was a good crowd in the stands that night. So, it's awesome getting out of the car and after a close battle like that, just to just to see how excited that crowd is, and how full those stands are.
Yeah, no doubt.
So you're winning races a couple of days past your birthday. Did you end up partying a little bit extra after the couple of wins you had down there at the race ranch?
And I wanted to, but man, it was so late. I feel like an old man working construction, so I go to bed so early. So no, I didn't stay too late. I definitely didn't drink, but I try to hang around a little bit and go talk with ODS crew and the Macklechecks and all them. Hang out with Jamie Fuller a little bit.
Yeah. Talk about that part, Jared. I mean, there are so many people. Whichever car that you're running, that man, they're on your back and they make you and they help you do really good things. Talk about all the folks that make this happen for you, because, like I said, you're one of the best in the country. But man, you have one hell of a support system that keeps you on the racetrack.
Yeah. Start off that one. The easier car that week was for sure the modified. My buddy Ricky Long. That car was ready to go all week, so we didn't have to stress about that one. We were real iffy on we were taking the factory stock or not, but the real deal was the limited.
Yeah.
So I've been lucky enough to be hopping in Rick Palero's IRP, and we had a little hiccup at I-37, and I thought we broke a transmission, so we got a little late start on it. Worked on it Thursday night, found out it was a broken rear end. So we called up Rick and said, "Hey, Rick, do you mind if I pull this motor out and throw in my Express?" And he said, "Nope, go for it. Whatever you got to do to race, go do it." So me and Jamie Fuller pulled an all-nighter Thursday, swap motors. And I know all day Friday he was out there working by himself when I was at work trying to get that motor set, because we were having hell with the pulleys and radiator wouldn't fit with that fan, and I mean everything possible was going wrong. We got it ready, put on scales, and find a radiator leak. I mean, just one thing after another. So, man, it wouldn't be possible without Fuller. Jamie really busted his butt to get that car out there. Really bummed I couldn't get a win in that one. It'd been awesome to, those long 2 nights in a row and be able to get a win would be great.
Yeah.
Close second in that factory. We've had a really good year in that car. Not disappointed with that one at all, but it felt good to have a couple rough nights and able to go out there and run flawless. Motor ran cool, no issues, and loaded with 0 scratches on it. So I call that a win for sure.
Yeah.
So in terms of racing the different cars, we've asked you before, but it seems like everybody wants to know the difference between the cars. I've even asked you this in Victory Lane there at Texana. Your driving style, it doesn't seem to matter what you're in. You have like this methodical driving style that you just, it's not like an assassin, but like you just have this methodical, whether you start in the back and you got, you run around the bottom to try to find the right groove, or you hover around the top to try to get the fastest groove. How hard is it to switch from one of those cars to the other? Because you talked about the difference in the lap cars, but I mean, obviously we know there's a hell of a big difference between a modified and a factory stock, but how much do you have to mentally change, or is it just kind of an instantaneous, flip the switch? I know on this car I got to run this way. I know on this car I got to run this way. This car I got to run this way. How do you manage all of that?
Luckily, I've kind of got used to it by now, so I don't really have to stress too much about changing my style. And the biggest deal is that I drive the same cars over and over again.
Yeah.
So they're all pretty much set up for my style. I'm comfortable in all of them right when I get into it. But I think the modified, all that rear steer in the car, you're pretty much looking at the right front the whole time. Just trying to be smooth on the car, hiking up and not letting it slam down, and all this erratic movement. And then you jump in that factory that hardly moves. You're super straight. But I think my favorite part about it is getting out of those fast cars and then jumping in the factory. I feel like it's so much more easier to drive. I feel like the room for error grows. You can mess up a little bit more, just put a little more steering wheel into it and it's fixed, versus the modified when you have a little hiccup and you lose, 3 seconds. So I think it definitely helps driving the same cars. I think if I was jumping in somebody else's car and going out there blind, it'd be a little more stressful, but it just helps driving these guys' cars over and over and over again.
Yeah. And Jared, talk about that part. I mean, with the factories, that really is the thing right now, where you got all these guys that are coming in here, guys and ladies that are racing these cars. Talk about that right there. I mean, Man, that is a huge class, and to be able to get out there and run at the front of the pack and win races all at these different tracks, that's got to be pretty cool for you.
Yeah, we've had a good year. I think we've really figured out this car lately. We kind of stuck to it. We decided to go hit some big shows up.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest stress was figuring out these tires. So, down south, still running the slicks. And we decided to go to Arcotech, and everybody's saying KK704s.
Mm-hmm.
So we go take KK704s, never been on them before. We ran okay at qualifying. I think we've qualified, 8th or 9th out of 56 cars or something like that. So pretty good off the bat, but we got smoked by some slicks. So everybody's looking at each other like, man, we made the wrong call.
Yeah.
And luckily, the next night, we ran a couple of heat races. We won both of them. So I think we're tied for first in passing points when that show resumes back in September. So, it's cool. There's a lot of big names in those factories. It seems like a lot of different chassis, a lot of different shock builders. I mean, it's all over the place. It's a pretty neat class. It seems like such a simple car, but you got all these big names, really smart guys figuring it out faster every year. You got to stay on top of it. Down south, you got Rye, you got Torres, all these fast guys down here that keep you on your toes every single week.
Yeah.
So it's a super fun class. The tires are cheap. I say the motors are cheap, but not anymore.
Yeah. That's right.
It's a full-on race car now. So
yeah,
it's a fun class. It is.
No doubt.
So, Jared, when you go to like Arclitex and go to some of the big shows, if you go to Boot Hill for the King of the Hill and some of those other races, down here everybody knows who you are and knows that you're one of the badasses in any class, right? So does your mindset change? Do you go with like a chip on your shoulder up to like Arclitex, or are you business as normal kind of guy up there when you and Jamie show up there with that factory stock? What is your mindset when you go to those bigger shows like that, knowing that a lot of those people up there don't know the successful you from down here?
I think it's the opposite. We go over there and I'm looking at all these big guys and all these big names that win all these big shows, and we're a nobody, hoping that our car is good down here, but are we any good up there? We really have no idea. Nobody's heard of us. I heard we pulled in. Everybody's calling our car ugly because it looks like a toaster, I don't know. Me and James kind of like, man, I think we're fast. I think we're okay. The car feels good, but you look around, Whitehead and Howe and
sure.
Myers, all these fast guys. But luckily, we showed our stuff. We got some speed, and I'm looking forward to going back and seeing if we can hang with all 50 laps or whatever it is.
Yeah. And Jared, kind of on the flip side, isn't it really cool that when you come home, whether it be Corpus or Texana, 37, whatever, you come rolling in, and I was watching you after the races, folks coming in, want to take pictures with you and all that. That's got to be pretty cool that you're the man. You are the man right now.
No, the interactions after is super cool. I mean, yeah, we do racing every weekend. Everybody in the pits knows each other, but
yeah,
it kind of puts your mind in different perspective when they come down from the stands and they look at these race car drivers, and it's so cool to them. So it's really cool to interact with the fans afterwards and take photos and get to meet all these people and kind of build a relationship. After the race, you know that person now, this person now, and it's really cool talking with people after the race. That intermission, that ODS night intermission, so cool.
That was awesome.
James Cole and them did some awesome things, giving out all those T-shirts and caps and koozies and everything like that, and getting face to face with the fans, and being able to talk a little bit before the race, kind of get a little break, catch your breath a little bit, go get a beer right before that main start. So super cool to be. I kind of like that. The intermission was awesome. Meet the driver and see the cars a little more up close. That driver start your engine deal, super cool. I mean, it changes it up versus the regular night where intermission's short and you get on the track and nobody really gets to see. So stuff like that's really cool. I think it makes the fans want to come back.
Yeah, those folks, they were fired up. They were fired up. I mean, when you guys, I do that a lot of times, Jared, where I'm like, okay, fans, come on. And they're like, drivers, start your engines. But you guys, I mean, for y'all's race, I mean, those folks, I was like, okay, that had to be pretty cool for you guys being out there on the racetrack.
No, it was super cool, and especially 1,000 to win. Really gets them riled up. Track was super racy, 2-3 lanes wide. It's a bummer we started 8th. I think we had a really good car under us. I was hoping for a yellow. It seems like we always get a few yellows, in the sport at Corpus, but I think we got one real early. I was really hoping for another one, but all in all, good night. Good night in front of the big crowd. Awesome night for ODS. Just super cool night all around.
So what's up this weekend, my man? Where you going? What you driving? I know you're going to be behind the wheel of something.
It's a bummer that I can't take a sport mod to Cotton Bowl because of the whole IMCA license. So I'm thinking about getting that modified ready, and I heard there's a bounty on Morris at Cotton Bowl.
Yeah.
Not saying I'm going to go over in it, but it'd be cool to at least go, throw your hat in the race and see if we can hang over there. I feel like that car's really good right now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, maybe we'll get that modified prepped and take it over Cotton Bowl.
I like that.
It is the beginning of their summer shootout series too, so it pays a little bit of extra money those next 3 races over there. I mean, I'll miss you at Texana, because the fans love you down there. But that there's nothing like chasing glory and chasing a bounty on somebody. Because hell, Morris whooped their ass up at Kennedale this weekend, so he's on a hot streak right now. That'd be a good battle between you and him.
Go get him, Jared.
Yeah, he's been quick, man. He's been really, really fast this year. I think the last time we were there with the mod, we ran second, and I think by the time we got to second, he was a straightaway ahead. So definitely got to be on your A game. He's been fast there, but it'd be fun to at least go give it a shot.
Yeah, no doubt. By the way, happy birthday, a day late, I think we are. You had some excited folks talking about that. So hopefully that was a real cool thing for you, and keep doing it, dude. You are the best of the best, my friend.
I appreciate it a bunch, guys.
You got it. Take care.
Later.
You bet. There he goes, Jared Moppin. It, man, I wish I was young and talented like he is.
You just wish you just settle for the young part right now.
No. I want the talent. I want to be able to race the way he does. And I was actually talking after the races. I was actually talking there in the Turn 5 bar, talking to a dude that used to run McAllen. And
really?
Yeah, we were talking about when Bobby used to race out there, his dad, Bobby Moppin, talking about the old days of the Miller Nationals. I mean, it was a really good time there that we had there. And
I only made one of those, and the damn thing got rained out.
Oh, man, it was such a good time.
There was just an ass load of cars from all over the Southwest.
Well, and that's a whole thing that we talk about now. It's such a different environment now. Things are way different. But Jared, to watch him race, I mean, I really like, talking about our man Caden Honeycutt and some of the other different guys that we talk about on this show all the time. I mean, for Jared to find that sweet spot and to get in one of those race cars that's going to be the fit for him. He's gone. He's going to leave us because that is a talent that, oh my God,
he just needs the right opportunity.
I know. And there's so many different.
He needs to be in like a pavement car too, because I bet he'd be smooth in a pavement car.
I would love to see Jared on pavement. I think Jared on the Cars Tour in a late model stock. Holy shit! Are you kidding me?
Jared would be fun.
Or a modified.
Yeah.
One of you guys in Houston that have a modified, one of those pavement modifieds that you want a badass to drive, hire that dude. Polero, come on. Put him in a modified. I don't know if Rick has one.
I don't think Rick has one anymore.
Oh, it's all right. He can find one. Yeah. But he's just that good. And that's the thing about it, to get to see these guys showcase their talent. And that's the thing, to watch him, get out of a limited modified into a modified and a factory stock. It's like he's just that good. Yeah. He's just that good, and it's a special talent, and it doesn't happen very often. We can sit here and go on and on about how good he is, and there are great racers all across our state and across our region. But damn, he's just really that good.
Yeah, I mean, and when you back it up with on-track performance, it's one thing. It's one thing for us to talk about how good somebody is, but when they're backing it up with on-track performance, that changes the game to a certain extent. And I've noticed even when I announce for him down there in Texana when he wins races, he's got a following. You hear the people starting to cheer. They recognize that name and they expect the greatness from him that he delivers.
Well, and that's the one thing. I mean, he has a great following. I mean, people want to be a part of what he does, and that's what happens. I mean, you have folks that want to be a part of, the winner. I mean, the guy that's really good. But what's so cool about Jared and talking to him right here, and it's not the first time he's been on this program. He is just he's humble. He's good. Even after the race the other night, I mean, he made a tremendous drive, and he gets out of the race car, and he's talking about how good the other driver was. Talking about how good Tanner was, and that to me that kind of sets that apart to me because he's been raised the right way. He's been raised the right way. He's been put in the right places, and he's just a good guy, just a good dude. I love that.
And sometimes you like to see the good guys succeed.
Yeah. It's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing to watch the good guys put in their hard work and make it happen.
Mm-hmm. So thank you, Jared, for checking in once again. Always a pleasure to talk to you here on Revved Up. Bobby, we had the race today. Martin Truex puts a stomping on him. How about that? How about that NASCAR racing happening today?
Most people didn't get to see it. I'll be interested to see the numbers. Although it would be interesting. I feel bad for the people that watch USA for all those Law and Order SVU reruns that all got interrupted. That got interrupted by a damn NASCAR race. Those people must be pissed off writing letters to the editor about how much that disappointed them that they couldn't watch their Law and Order rerun for like the 5th or 6th time.
Well, I have no job, so I sat there and watched that. Not the entire race, but I watched a bunch of that, and it was kind of just like it always is. New Hampshire, kind of a snoozer.
Yeah. New Hampshire's going to do New Hampshire things.
Yeah. So, anyway, but with NASCAR kind of making their way here as we get towards the end of the cutoff, for the playoffs, I think that we're going to have some good stuff. I think that's coming up. But Truex, how about that? The old man showing him how it's done.
If he's winning races and having fun, he may not retire, but he might go out on top. That's a possibility there. So,
yeah.
Imagine the struggle trying to fill that seat at the last minute towards the end of the year.
Oh man, I'm sure they have a plan in place. They have a plan in place. Who's going to take that over and be the Toyota driver for that? I do want to go back to Bobby. The one thing that we talked about at the first part of the show, talking about with the Eldora Million. We talked about this on Saturday briefly because we don't have a lot of time on that show. But what do you think about this stuff? Weekday races. Let's do it. I mean, let's go. I mean, it happens all across the country, but I think the more that folks understand that we do this all the time, I think it's a good thing. I think it's an adjustment, right? You realize when you think about it, professional wrestling's on every single night of the week. La Luchas.
The Lucha's on every single night of the week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, right? So now we're getting used, thanks to streaming, that you can now watch a race most of it's dirt, but you can watch a race almost every single night of the week. And whether there's, it may be at some podunk-ass racetrack or maybe at some nice racetrack with part of Speed Weeks, Indiana Speed Weeks, Pennsylvania Speed Weeks, whatever the case may be. But I also think that the streaming aspect has it, but it's harder to do at a cup level and the professional level because I think that your local base. Now, some of the Eldora Million is going to draw region wide, right? Whereas, a race at Sandusky Speedway on a Wednesday night is going to draw somewhat more of a local feel to it.
Mm-hmm.
Where the cup cars are going to, the cup race at Pocono is going to pull from Pencil. It's going to pull from Philly. It's going to pull from Dover. It's going to pull from Michigan, New York. Like it's got a bigger geographical magnet on it to where the cup races in the middle part of the week are going to be harder to fill. But you notice a lot of these times when you watch these flow racings and these dirt vision shows, they really do have a fairly decent count. I think Eldora is kind of in its own universe, in its own ecosystem, because it's Eldora, and the people stayed all week and spent, hundreds of bucks on tickets for the King's Royal and the Million and all that good stuff. But yeah, I think that this weeknight racing works at a local level. I don't know if it's going to work at a national level.
Yeah, does that really help? You know, if we were talking about that on Saturday. I mean, the thing is, it worked well during the pandemic because you couldn't fill the stands, and I think that's one thing that you talked about. It was like, yeah, it was great, but hell, nobody could go.
Yeah. You relied on the TV revenue to pay for the race.
Is that something? Do you think that if we get to let's have a Wednesday race at Martinsville or whatever, does that really help us on the short track side? If it's like maybe a Xfinity race or a truck race or something like that, does that help us? I don't think it does.
I mean, does the truck race at IRP a couple of days before the road course at Indy help any?
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah, not really. I mean, it's a hell of a race to watch and a fun race to watch, but I don't think it helps out at Indy. I mean, even back in the day, everybody wants to talk about how good the Xfinity races used to be at IRP, the old Busch races at IRP at Indianapolis Raceway Park. That's on the other side of Indy. That didn't help out the Brickyard not one single bit.
Yep.
Now, I think the Brickyard helped out IRP because there was a hell of a lot more people coming to the Brickyard as the destination race versus IRP. But I don't know. I think that, a Wednesday night we saw it at Eldora. Once again, Eldora in its own ecosystem when they used to run the trucks there on Wednesday night. So, it's got a place. I just don't think the Cup race is going to be the place to be for a midweek race.
Yeah, I agree. Let's stream and let's do what we do. I think that's the best place for all.
Let the short trackers showcase themselves on the streamers and let the rest lay where it lies.
Yep, no doubt. Friends, stick around. Great conversation right there with Jared Maupin. Coming up, Cody Brusso. That'll be fun.
Yeah, wide open with her.
Throttle down. We're talking racing coming up when we come back. Hashtag Real Race Talk on your Monday night. It is the Revved Up Sports Show. You guys stick around.
Here again with the Revved Up Sports Show. For over a year now, you've heard me talking about our valued partners over at Generation Race Cars. During the first half of this season, GRC-built cars have visited Victory Lane on 20 occasions, driven by 6 different drivers. We're proud of their success, and no more wins are ahead for them in the coming months. Generation Race Cars, located in Springtown, Texas, continues to offer new chassis body combos all the way to turnkey sport mods and limited modifieds. All cars are built just like the ones driven by recent winners Alex Hickam, Jeff Shepard, Dean Abbey, and Kyle Wilkins. Justin Long is committed to giving each and every customer the time they deserve, along with a commitment to bring quality into every build. When you're ready to join the winning team, give the guys over at Generation Race Cars a call at 817-528-2947. Take your racing program to victory lane with Team GRC.
Hi, this is Tom McKay with Audiovisual Consultations. Scientific data proves it. Size does matter. The bigger and wider your television is, the better. Football season is here, and the time is now to get your entire audio-video experience tuned up and ready. New flat screens, projection video, Dolby True HD surround, all the goodies at great prices and followed up with great service. So call us at 255-8678. That's 255-8678, or on the web at avconsultations.com.
Wow, where'd you find that?
Dude,
Like the Twilight Zone?
Twilight Zone.
Twilight Zone. Oh, it's got beats on it, too.
Let it hit, man. Don't mess around, dude. I search music all the time. Just checking things out. Right there.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all. Speaking of not bad, that was a great conversation we had with Jared Maupin. Welcome back to the show, everybody. The Revved Up Sports Show Monday night, live here from Texas as we expand the reach. Going to talk to Florida's own Cody Brusso coming up here in a few minutes. But
yeah, she's coming up.
That's a firecracker right there. Speaking of firecrackers, did you see that fireworks show at Mobile? That's a lot. That's a lot of money on fireworks.
I did, and I'm glad that they had a good night out there racing at Mobile. A lot of folks reaching out to me. It's like, how was that? I'm like, hey, good for them. I mean, I wish I'd have been there, but yeah, man, they seem to have a really good night out there. Good for Mobile. That place just needs to be racing. That's the main thing.
Yeah, definitely. The place just needs to be open, and every racetrack just needs to be open and needs to have good, successful programs.
Mm-hmm. To the hotline once again. Here we go. One of my favorite people, my best friend. I love this kid. She is totally my best friend. Cody Brusso. Cody, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, I'm doing fantastic. How about you guys?
doing good. Hey, talk about the weekend for you. I mean, parking that thing in Victory Lane. I mean, that's got to be a pretty cool ass thing for you.
Absolutely. First off, I cannot thank the Hammonds enough, Jimmy Hammond, Michelle, and everybody that's been a part of that. And, coming into this year, I really didn't know what my year was going to be.
Yep.
I mean, as everybody pretty much knows, I've had a pretty shitty go at it the last couple of years, just with some dirty people in racing. That is, I was fortunate enough to be successful, and then it's like the rug got pulled out from underneath me. So when he offered me this opportunity to race this modified, I took it. Now, I've never driven anything like that, so.
Yeah.
It was a really good opportunity, and I took it, and he worked so hard on that thing, and the car comes out of Mississippi, and he makes the drive to South Alabama Speedway, and like I said, he's from Mississippi, so it's hard for me to get over there during the week to help work on the car, and he puts in so much time after he gets off work, and he has really brought me back to life. I've won 2 races in that car so far. We're second in points. We closed the gap, and it's just really brought my confidence back and helped me so much as a driver. And, this weekend we went to South Alabama, and we led flag to flag, and, I mean, it was awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, Cody, how hard is it to not get caught up in points, midway through the season or early in the season, because you didn't know what your season was going to happen, and now you got a really good ride, and you're up in points after a couple of wins. How hard is it? Are you a points racer? Or are you a week by week racer? Talk about your personality when it comes to that.
Well, y'all know my personality. I don't get in the car to do anything but win. That's my goal every time I get in it. That's my goal. If I sit on a horse, that's my goal. If I get on a dirt bike and Brooke's lined up next to me, I'm probably going to kick her over if we're racing. So the points thing came about. I raced there in 2020, and I won a super stock, which is their outlaw class at South Alabama, and I won that points championship racing for Spencer Bragg. And Jimmy Hammond has never won a championship with anybody driving for him. They've won some really, really big races in that car, but he's never been able to wrap up a championship. So that was kind of our goal going into it. But the way that I'm wired, I got to win. That's just how it is. So it's not really a point. The goal is the championship. There's a guy there that's very, very good at ops, Heath Mills, and he's won the last 8 years, 8 championships back to back to back to back. So my goal is to tighten that gap up right there and see what we have at the end of the year. But I mean, our main goal is to go out, run good, come home with a complete car, and win as much as we can and run as best that we can. But the end goal is definitely that championship. I've got my sights set on it, and that's what we're working towards.
Yeah. Cody Brusso, talk about that place. I got to go there in March, for the Rattler. And to me, that's what racing is all about. I mean, talk about that. That is down home, just kick-ass short track racing, the shit that we need to be doing right now. Just talk about racing there. It's got to be pretty cool for you to get back there. You've had a lot of damn success there. To get back there and be doing what you're doing, that's got to be pretty cool for you.
Yeah, that's a great facility. They host the Rattler every year, and that's their claim to fame. But during the year, what it kind of gets looked over is their local classes, and John Dykes and his family and Malia and everybody, they do a really great job just keeping their local racing divisions alive. You know, they don't have the big series races that come in as far as your supers and your pros, and they shove everybody else to the side. I mean, They are about their local class. And what's crazy is, you know, I'm just thankful, like I said, for the opportunity with the modified, but locally around here, that's the only place to run a modified, unless you want to run the Mom Tour, which travels, you know. But if you work Monday through Friday and you have X amount of dollars to spend, it's hard to go run with Stickler and those guys and follow that series to run that deal. And, I mean, from his lowest class to his highest class at South Alabama, I mean, they treat everybody so well. And it's crazy. People are going to be like, oh, well, you said this and this about South Alabama. And we've had our ups and downs with that first year. But, I mean, the more that I have grown and kind of calmed down a little bit, that place is fantastic. I mean, if you're starting out, it's a good place to learn. It's affordable. You're racing against people that work Monday through Friday and Saturdays sometimes before they show up to the racetrack. And it's just what they have done there for their local racer, or for the local racer, is absolutely amazing. Because not to knock any other track around here, but they are about the local racer.
That's right. That's what it's all about.
Let's go back and talk about that modified. How does it fit your drive? Do you change your driving style for the car, or do you make the car fit you?
Right now we're doing a little bit of both. I've raced the Outlaw stuff, a little bit of Pro Late model, but it's all been crate stuff. And if you know anything about crate racing, that's a totally different deal for, you know, the majority of it. It's a different approach to how you approach the track and how you run the car compared to these big motored modifieds that weigh 2,600 pounds on an 8-inch tire that are haul and tail. So I've had to adjust a little bit. The car is definitely better than I am as far as in a modified goes. The mod is definitely a little bit better than me, but I'm catching up. But it's going to help me when I get back in a crate car. Like the SRL car, it has a 602 motor in it, Outlaw body. So when I go from that modified from South Alabama and get in my 602 car, I'm like, oh, okay. Like, where's the gas pedal? I can't push it any farther. Let's go, you know? Yeah. So it's just how you go about it and how you approach it. I've had to back my corners up. I've always been known to charge hard into a corner. So Holly's got me backed up on that and kind of held the reins back a little bit. But I'd rather have a horse that you got to pull back than one that you got to kick to go. And I think Holly's done figured that out about me. So.
There it is. Yep, absolutely. And I do want to ask you about that, Cody. I mean, some of this shit out of control. I mean, when it comes to spending money and all this different stuff, your thoughts on that? I mean, trying to reel this stuff back in. I mean, I'm pulling the reins back. I mean, I'm using your analogy right there. I'm pulling the reins back on that horse. How the hell do we get this stuff back in order? Because, man, it's all about the money. And you guys that actually can drive the race cars, you're getting left out of this shit, and that sucks.
Absolutely. And it's just something that's happened, I mean, all across the board. Dirt, I'm sure, drag racing, and what we do on asphalt in every class. It's unfortunate, but it's very hard for the average person that works Monday through Friday. And pays for their own stuff to have to go and buy $800 set of tires, because if you bolt on tires, I have to bolt on tires, right? And then everything else has gone up, of course. And then you have people that don't work, that have a kid that has 12 race cars and everything handed to him, and the kid's never been outside a day in his life, and the only time he even gets his hands dirty is getting out of the car, taking his gloves off, and walking back to his hauler. I don't really know how they're going to get a hold of it. A good friend of mine today, Mike Garvey, I saw where he was saying that they need to allow traction control and allow soaking, because really you're racing against it. So if you think you're not, you're wrong. It's unfortunate, and that's just the name of the game now. Like myself, I mean, I'm not the best. I still have a lot to learn, but I'm pretty sure that there's some of these cars that I see these kids or whoever in that's spending tons and tons and tons of money. And I'm pretty sure I could get in it and put down a better lap. But that's not part of it. I mean, that it just is what it is. Everybody's dealt a different hand, and that just makes us have to work 10 times harder and be a lot more hungry than the other people. But I'm kind of with Garvey. Turn them loose. If you want trash control, pony up. That would make the cost of that come down and put everybody on a level playing field. That's the biggest part of the problem right now is that, you have a group, and you'll see it in the pro cars mostly. You'll have a group that you'll see bunched together on the racetrack all the time, and they're back there racing, slicing, and dicing. You'll have a 4-car breakaway, and that's $1 million race car per car. So I don't really know how to fix it. I mean, you just do what you can with what you got and do the best that you can. And that's really all that you can do at this point, because they're not going to do anything to fix it unless people put their foot down and refuse to show up and say, hey, this is what we're going to do. If you want to watch 3 cars run around in circles together, have at it. But the rest of the 20 other ones, we're going to the house. We'll be at the bar. There's nothing else you can do.
No doubt.
So Cody, how do you change a mindset knowing that you got to go into that, right? It's like taking a knife into a cannonball fight. I mean, is it disheartening for you, or you said it makes you try that much harder. You guys work 110% now. Like, how much harder can you go?
You can't. You gotta, instead of running a full season, you kind of have to do what we're doing now, and you have to pick and choose and, work with people that want to see you win and succeed and, kick everybody else out of the boat. If they're not paddling, get out, or you're dead weight to us. And it is disheartening, and it's tough to see it, and you see it a lot. And there's a lot of people with a lot of talent that aren't able to do what they're capable of just because of lack of funding. And I mean, that's just the way of the world. And with us, running op, it's affordable, it's a local deal. We're going, we're learning, we're doing what we want to do, but we're having fun. If you go into a race, and you have X amount of dollars to spend, but these people over here are spending, the other 15 of them or whatever are spending way more money than your amount that you can spend, you're going in it knowing that you're going to run 15th. Yeah. And I've never wanted to go into anything wanting to run 3rd, much less 15th.
Yeah.
So that's what you have to do. You have to just make it work for your budget and do what you have to do. And then when you show up, you just got to shut everything off and be like, look, this is what we're here to do. I don't care that so-and-so is spending all this or so-and-so is doing this, or, you don't race monitor. You don't chase times because they're bolting on tires. You got to go and you got to run your race and hit your marks and do what you need to do so you can get up there with those guys and just absolutely school their ass.
That's the best part. And how cool is that for you? To be able to do this and just go out there and beat the shit out of these guys. You're doing it. It's a down home effort for you guys. You're in this modified, but I know just with everything for you, Brooke has your back, and your mom and your dad and all that. It comes down to that, to where it's all about family and just getting out there and racing. And when you happen to whip their fucking asses, that's got to be pretty cool for you.
It is cool. Like I said, I know that when we go back in a couple weeks, it's our double points night, and these people are competitive. It's not like I'm going there and absolutely smoking their tail. We had a good run this past weekend. However, I know that I've had my ass beat also. So I'm not saying like I went and I walked all over these people and they're trash, blah, blah, blah. I would never say that, because they're not. They're right there with us. We got out front and we got gone. And that's another thing. Like, if you don't stay humble, man, they'll eat you alive. Like, that karma will come back and get you. And so I've really tried to tune that back as far as like, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. But once you have a bad year like I had, then you're kind of, all right, hang on, let me regroup here and let's change my attitude a little bit. And it's all about how you look at it and how you take that and what you do with it. And like Heath Mills, like I said, that dude's fast. Like, I've watched him and I've watched him and I've watched him, and I've learned from what he does because he's been driving those cars so long. And so I pick up a little things here and there from different people. And, you know, you got to race everybody and treat everybody with respect so you can get that respect back. And everybody that the majority of people that I race
I love
against,
it right there. She stumbled. My
Yeah.
girl stumbled right there.
The majority of people that I race against know that, okay, if I race Cody this way, she's going to do this. If I race Cody this way, we're going to the infield or to the outside wall. Like, people know that. But I have enough respect. If I run over my buddy Bubba Winslow, I'm probably going to get ran over. You know, that's just how it is. But that's how us Monday through Friday, you know, people that work for a living have to race.
Yeah.
Listen, the stuff's too expensive to fix. It's too freaking hot outside to be in the shop.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
no
Working
doubt.
on these things, fixing it, and doing all this. And on that local level, for the most part, you have that respect. I don't really know what's going on down in South Florida on the quarter-mile tracks because they've absolutely lost sight of that. They will wreck your shit in a heartbeat for no reason. It is lap 1, 12 cars are piled into the fence. Nobody knows what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
Why did you just do that? Why are you dooring me before the start? Like, and, you know, my buddy Matthew Green actually, this past weekend, they had a sportsman race at New Smyrna, 20 cars, great turnout. They ran more caution laps, I think, than they did green flag laps. He got put to the back like 8 times. There's a video of a guy that just, like, lost his shit. Matthew was sitting P3, I think. Dude, they were coming to the green. Dude snapped. He turned left on Matt, drove him all the way down into the mud, and Matthew got out and was like, get out. Let's talk about it. Dude wouldn't get out of his car. Yeah. But that's lack of respect for your local racer. You know what I'm saying? So if we go and we continue to tear up cars like we're tearing, there ain't going to be nobody left because a lot of people have one car. If they fence it real bad, you can't afford to fix it right now. It's going to take you 3 or 4 weeks to be able to get it fixed because a lot of these people work on their cars themselves.
That's right.
You know, I've been really fortunate with my bunch, Chuck Burkhalter and Willie and all them and Piney down there that have my car, my SRL car, and it stays down there. And they keep it up, but they're like family to me. So I'm not having to pay out the yazoo to run a 2,000 to win race or a $1,500 or $800 to win race. You know, I've been really fortunate for that. But a lot of those people that run that have paid crew chiefs. They're paying out the wazoo to do it, and they act ignorant because they can just, whoop, well, all done. Somebody will pay for it. Not me, but Dad might. It's stupid. Yeah, so that's kind of where we're at with that.
No doubt.
So, Cody, what's your opinion on the ARCA series? We know how you feel about the late models, pro late models, and super late models. What you think about the ARCA series?
I think the ARCA series is going down a dark path.
Yeah.
Their car counts are awful. Their drivers that they promote are terrible.
Yep.
There's been people that they praise on social media for different reasons, and I'm sure you'll put 2 and 2 together here, that would rather take pictures walking around in a fire suit than get in the car and drive the damn thing. They'll go from an ARCA car. This is Speed Weeks right here. Get in a really, really nice, well-paid to rent race car that is capable of running up front at Speed Weeks every night and run 38. Okay, they started 34 cars. They're back there in 38s at the hot dog stand. Okay, and then get in an ARCA car, but go and race against people who are also 38th, 39th, 40th.
Yep.
Right? Get them a top 10 because there's 15 cars and act like they hung the moon. And that's just, that's, you stroke a check, you can get in an ARCA car right now. Like, pick up the phone, call, stroke a check, I don't know, 60 grand, 70 grand, whatever it is per race. I don't know. I've never even attempted that just because I'm not interested. But, and that's bad. And it's supposed to be a building block to move on to the higher series. And it's all about stroking that check. And I mean, honestly, I've said my share about it, but like Jake Finch, he's actually doing a pretty good job. I mean, he's doing well, and he's more talented than these kids that he's racing against, and he has more respect for those people and his equipment than they do because they have more money than he's got. You know, it's
Yeah.
crazy. It's nuts. And then the drivers that are good, that do run up front, like you'll see them pop out here at Five Flags when they have the ARCA race. They'll run up front, but they can't afford to run all year. They can't
Yeah.
get funding for it or whatever. But then you have some hack, you know, that's, I finished top 10 at the ARCA race at wherever. All right, well, good for you, bud. Like, come over here, you know. Or
Yeah.
next time you get back in your car, they replace you at Speed Weeks because you're doing ARCA things, right, and taking your pictures, walking around looking like the whole dumbass. And they put somebody else in your car, and they put Isabella Robusto in a car, and it had been running last all freaking week. Put her in it. Girl drives the fifth like it was nobody's business, and she hadn't sat in it all week. You know what I mean? So it just goes to show that ARCA is definitely not about talent. It's about the stroke of the check, and that's definitely not taking anything away from Finch or anything like that. That's not what I meant. But he needs to move up. Like he's not doing himself any good by
Yeah,
riding
get the
around
fuck
with
out
those
of there.
kids because
Yeah.
he's not learning anything.
Yeah, no doubt.
So, Cody, I got a follow-up
Right.
question for you. As being a female in a male-dominated sport, one, how does that end up affecting you locally? And then how do you think that perception of the ladies that are racing, like Tony Breidinger, does decent in an ARCA car, gets in a truck, and has a really good run? Then you've got somebody like Haley Deegan, has the money behind her, but doesn't seem to have the consistency that she should have with all the hype.
She sucks.
Well, I didn't want to say that outright, but I mean, how is that? Do you notice the woman in motorsports trend?
I don't listen.
Here we
When
go.
I put on my helmet,
Bring it on, girl.
when I put on my helmet, we're all equal. I don't
Yeah.
care if you're 350 pounds. I don't care if you're 10 pounds. I don't care if you're 12. When we put on a helmet, we're all the same size. We all weigh 2750, whatever you have to weigh, 2800. I don't know, but we're all the same size. So I try not to get like fixated on that, like a lot of people try to do, because
Mhm.
I'm not about it. I don't think, and this might be crude or whatever, but they sexualize female drivers so much, and it's to the
Mhm.
point, like, they'll have Facebook groups and stuff. It's disgusting. Like, y'all have no idea what we get in our inboxes. It's disgusting. And sometimes that's the push, and sometimes that's how some of them go. But Haley, I don't think she sucks. I think she's over it.
Yeah.
I think she's over it. I think
Yep.
she's over the bullshit. I think that she'd rather go and ride her little rally truck around. I think she's doing what she needs to do for, you know, her business model, I guess, for her to retire on doing whatever. But I just think that she's over it. I mean, the Tony girl, I'm not a fan. I don't really care if anybody disagrees with me because she sucks. If I had to pick Haley or Tony in equal equipment, I would pick Haley just because she has the drive to do it. She's not there to do – I mean, she has a little bit of social media going on, but she's not trying to sell herself to get to the next level, right? She can stroke the check to go, but she doesn't have to sell herself to do it. And I think that she's honestly over it.
Yeah.
And I think that she's probably been put in some bad situations. And like when you get your confidence knocked down like that, it sucks. Like you're done. You're just like, I'm out. I don't even want to do this anymore.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But as far as a local standpoint goes, it doesn't really affect us down here. I mean, in Pensacola, the people that race here, especially in the outlaw class or whatever, I mean, my dad raced, so everybody knows who we are, you know, like we all know each other, right? So it's not this big blown out of proportion thing. And, you know, Johanna Long is the same way. She's from here. We all knew each other growing up. Everybody knew who the Longs were because Donald raced, right? And then my dad raced and everybody. So it's not really, oh, it's a girl. Like the fans will see that, right, if you don't know us. And that's cool for the fans because people that do want to race or, you know, as a kid and they're a girl or whatever, then they get to build off that, oh, that might be something I want to do. And they go get into go-karts or bandos or whatever. And that's super cool. But I'm really not down with the whole push for, oh, this is a girl. Look at the girl.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Like,
Yeah.
that's just not – we're here to race. We're race car drivers. We put our helmet on. We put our suits on. We all put our pants on the same way. Let's go race.
Isn't that the best part for you, Cody? I mean, you get out there. I mean, it does not matter. I mean, boy, girl, monkey, dog, whatever. You just get out there and you just fucking drive these race cars. And I think that's the one thing that's always been so impressive about what you do. I mean, you just race. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you are. I mean, you're just a racer, and that's what you and your family do.
Right. That's exactly what we do, and that's what I've been raised in. And that's what we're there to win. We are not there to run second. We're not there to run
Mhm.
third. This is not a hobby because it's not that fun when you're losing. I'm sure that some people love it so much that they're completely cool with doing whatever they're doing and showing up to the racetrack, but I'm not like that. When I go there, that's my job. This is
Yep.
not a hobby. I'm here to do a job, put my helmet on, do my job, give the feedback that I'm supposed to give, just like you would your normal day job, right?
Yep.
And I'm there to do what I've been told to do or what I've spent my money on all week to go do, and I'm not going to throw money at something that I'm not trying to succeed at.
Yep.
And we're there to win races, and that's my mindset going into it. I don't care who you are. I don't care if it's Bubba Pollard. I'll race everybody clean until they don't race me. Augie Grill, all those guys, Steven Nassie. Like, let's go. I want to beat the best. I want to beat the best of the best in equal equipment. But you got to go in with the mindset that this is my job. This is not a hobby. It's fun, but not real fun, but kind of sometimes if you're doing good.
Yeah.
But you got to go in with that mindset.
Yeah. So rest of the year, what you got on tap? What all are you doing as we get into the end of the year? End of the year. What all is Cody Brusso doing?
Year roundup.
Yep.
End of the year roundup. Well, August 5th, we actually have a sportsman race, which the SRL Sportsman, formerly known as Wheelman, we have those cars. They're allowing us to go race at Cordial for an actual sportsman race.
Nice.
August 5th, 2,000 to win, 300 to start. So all of those guys are coming up from South Florida, and we're planning on going to that. The last time I was at Cordial, the last time I was at Cordial, I think I got all the way up to 5th and got run over, and I tried to knock I did knock the rear end out of the kid's car. So I'm looking to make that a good comeback, to kind of redeem myself there. I'm pretty sporty at Cordial.
Yep.
So I'm pretty excited for that. We have a few modified races left at South Alabama Speedway, and I've got some stuff up my sleeve for the end of the year that I'm kind of working on.
Like it.
Definitely Snowball Derby. We'll be doing that, but I'm not saying nothing about nothing. So I'm pretty excited about that one. And then we have a big race in Cordial for the Outlaw cars. It's 5,000 to win. It's at the end of September. So we're going to be at that, and that's really all that I have. Spotting for Bubba here this Friday. I've been doing a little bit of that, trying to learn on that, and that's helping me, inside the car also, getting to go up there and help him and spot for him and let him go through traffic, because that gives you a whole different perspective on things. So that's kind of what we got going on. Just trying to finish this year out strong, and at the point I was at before I won the first modified race this year, I didn't know if I was going to win again. Like, I was kind of beat down like that, and it's kind of gotten, the drive back under me to do well and wanting to race anything I can get in at any chance, and whatever somebody offers or whatever I can afford to go do, then that's what we're going to go do.
Oh, man, I love that. I cannot wait to see what else you do this year, and I miss seeing you. I'll see you soon. I'm going to see you soon. Hug Brooke for me. We'll do this again sometime, and just get out there and just keep doing what you're doing. So proud of you, girl. Love you to pieces, friend.
Love you too, bud.
All right, take care. Thanks for checking in, Cody.
All right. Absolutely appreciate you guys.
You bet. Take care.
All right, bye-bye.
You bet. There she goes. I'll tell you, I love her. Oh my God,
one of a kind.
She is like my favorite person to talk to. Talking to her on the air is one thing. We've talked in other spots, and she just lets it go. But man, I'll tell you, I'm so proud of what she's doing, and that's a really good thing.
Yeah, no, lots of good stuff. I'm glad to see her get her feet under her in that modified.
Yeah,
I think that modified has stabilized her outlook on racing, and she even mentioned it, talking to us, and how it's kind of the right. Sometimes the right ride happens.
She's
at the right time.
calmed down a little.
Yeah,
bit.
the right ride happens at the right time, and it does wonders for your outlook, and does wonders for your your mental stability.
The whole thing is with Brusso, she's a damn good race car driver, and I think that's one of the things that folks need to realize. When she gets behind the wheel of something, whatever it is, she is just really, really good, and good for her. I'm so glad of what she's accomplished and what's coming up for her. And with the postseason stuff, I mean, good stuff. Good stuff. Really good stuff. I love it. Good show tonight. We only had 2 guests tonight, but we had the best of the best.
That's right.
That's right. Really good stuff. Hey, you guys, coming up this weekend, go out and find a local short track. And that's the one thing that I think we talk about all the time on here is, with streaming and Race on Texas, Racing America, Flow, all this. Get to a track if you can. Yeah, go watch a shit live, because that's the one thing that I realized this weekend, doing Waco on Friday and Corpus on Saturday. Those folks showed up and they were on fire, dude. It was so cool to see the stands packed at both places. I love that.
Yeah, no, it's going to be fun. ASCS Gulf South returning to the racetrack.
That's
got those
right.
down there with us at Texana, so I'm looking forward to that race. Whether I call it or I don't call it, I'm looking forward to a damn good race. So,
well, I think you should.
That's going to be a lot of fun down there with the return of ASCS down there at the little track that everybody loves, everybody's favorite home short track, Texana Raceway Park.
Texana Raceway Park. If you can't get there, go somewhere and find some of that great short track racing. All right, Jared Maupin, Cody Brusso. What a great show we had tonight. Bobby, rest of the week, my man, how are you going to stay cool?
I don't think I can, but I'm looking forward. Hopefully it'll be a little bit cooler there at Texana on Saturday, but we'll just see how it goes. That's the end goal, right? Coming up, I got a couple of little nephews' birthdays to get through this week, but the end goal will be having a good time on Saturday morning with Revved Up ATX, and then Saturday night there at Texana.
Need to get on-demand shirts out there. They'll give you something to cool your head down. I've got one of those. They cooled me down. I was sweating really bad. They're like, put this on. It's good.
Yeah.
Good.
Definitely got to get on ODS involved with this show, too.
That's right. James Cole, my man. Great outpouring there at the Race Ranch. Thank you all for being a part of the program. We'll do it again next Monday. He's Bobby. I'm Rodney. We gone.